Hello everyone, I'm back again. I'm Renowned Zero, and today we're going to be talking about Neil Gaiman calling everyone who doesn't like race swap in the Rings of Power either racist or hasn't read Tolkien. No, you clearly haven't read Tolkien, because I actually went through this article prior to doing this video, and clearly you didn't read Tolkien. And for you to say this, it's just like every other NPC in Hollywood saying the same old garbage, that if people don't like a certain casting when it's based on source material, that they're racist. Like, dude, you are a literal NPC, like every other NPC in Hollywood. You're a literal NPC. You have room temperature IQ and you're a fucking NPC. But we'll go through the article anyway, and I'll give my thoughts on this. So it says the Sandman creator, Neil Gaiman, who says anyone who criticizes race swapping the Rings of Power is either racist or hasn't read their Tolkien. Like I said, you haven't read Tolkien because you're dumb. In the latest trotting of what is arguably the most tired and transparent defense of corporate pop culture slop, the Sandman creator Neil Gaiman recently cited a disingenuous misinterpretation of J.R.R. Tolkien's original writings in order to disqualify any critic of Amazon's decision to race swap various characters and races in the Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power, which I still think is a stupid name, by the way, as nothing more than surprise racists. Gaiman shared his opinions on the Rings of Power's attraction September 2nd via his personal Twitter account when he was tagged for his thoughts on an argument regarding the topic as put forth by UK conservative commentator Darren Grimes. Responding to the Rings of Power star Lenny Henry's recent accusation that critics of Amazon's race swapping have no trouble believing in a dragon but can't accept that a black person could be a hobbit or an elf. Again, they're not black, especially elves, mind you. They're not black. And if you did make an elf black, that means you'd have to explain what happened to them. That means clearly they all died. Spoiler alert, they're all dead because there are none in any of the Peter Jackson films. So, you look stupid. Most fantasy fans have no issue with casting black actor, he explained. Grimes asserted. It's when black actors are cast in roles that the author of the series has described as not being black. What's so wrong about wanting to stick to the author's vision? It's the same thing with something like Thor, where they made Heimdall black, and he's not in the comic books. However, they didn't do it for diversity's sake. They did it, they casted Idris Elba as Heimdall, and no one cared because he was a good actor. Well, maybe the comic people cared. The true to the comic book people cared, and I believe that it should be stuck with the source material, kind of one-to-one. It's not realistic that everything would be one-to-one, but something like that should be from the comics. It's the same thing with this. Here's the tweet. Darren Grimes, Lenny Henry misses the point. Most fantasy fans have no issue with casting black actors when black actors are cast in roles that the author of the series has described as not being black. What's so wrong about wanting to stick to the author's vision? Alerted to Grimes' tweet by user Charlie the Great, Gaiman replied to Grimes, Tolkien described the Harfoots as browner of skin. Doesn't mean black, by the way. There are brown-skinned people. And there are tan-skinned people, my dude. Or have you not seen that? Because clearly it matters to you that much. Where we want source material to be used when you're adapting something than the other hobbits. So I think anyone grumbling is either racist or blah blah blah. Your mileage may vary. Sure, bud. That's why your Sandman show failed. The line referenced by Gaiman appears in the prologue to Tolkien's original The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring novel, wherein it is used in the description of how the Harfoot breed of hobbits differs from their fellow Stores and Followhides. The Harfoots were browner of skin, smaller and shorter. They were beardless and bootless, which, by the way, well, maybe not. Just wanted to check, make sure that was at least correct. Their hands and feet were neat and nimble, and they preferred highlands and hillsides. Roll Tolkien. As indicated by the use of browner rather than brown, this descriptor was meant to be taken in comparison to the lighter skin complexion of the overall species. The standard appearance is further alluded to by Tolkien's follow-up note. The fellow hides were conversely fairer of skin than their general brethren. After all, these two breeds were both browner and fairer than the average hobbit. Stands to reason that these two notable extremes were slight variations on a similar base instead of outright differently skinned. Likewise, in a graphic novel adaptation of The Hobbit published by the Ballantine Publishing Group in 1990 and approved by the Tolkien estate, the hobbits are roundly illustrated as having white skin. You can see them here in here. Conversely, in his various descriptions of the Harvardrian people, Tolkien did not refer to their skin in comparative terms, but rather was direct in describing them as having skin that was either brown, used in the description of the Southrons felled by Faramir and his men in the Two Towers, or black, used in description of a group of far Herodians present during the Battle of the Pelennor fields in Return of the King. Additionally, in Tolkien's time, the term brown was regularly used to reference individuals of Mediterranean descent. Yes, this is, from back in the day. In one such example, Scottish writer Donald Alexander Mackenzie wrote in the 1915 book Myths of Babylonia and Assyria, this distinguished ethnologist is frankly of opinion that the Sumerians were the congeners of the pre-dynastic Egyptians of the Mediterranean or brown race, the eastern branch of which reaches to India and the western to the British Isles and Ireland. In the same ancient family are included the Arabs, whose physical characteristics distinguish them from the Semites of Jewish type. However, despite these points of fact being raised in counter to his argument, the author remains steadfast in his belief that the Harfoots were black. No, they weren't. Brown of skin does not mean black, because you have brown people and you have black people. You're retarded. Met with a reply of Tolkien clearly meant tanned or even a more Mediterranean complexion. From Twitter user AllSight2, Gaiman argued Tolkien says they were browner of skin, not that they spent much longer in the sun. Again, there are brown-skinned people and there are black-skinned people. You're just retarded. That's why your show failed on Netflix, because you went along with the trash that you decided to put on Netflix. Addressing both Gaiman and Scar the Great, Mr. Potenads wrote, brown of skin means tanned white, similar to people who work in the sun as they are in a temperate environment like England. You're both lying and trying to deceive people, Gaiman. Shame on you. Refusing to budge, Gaiman reiterated, Tolkien didn't say the Harfoot spent longer in the sun. God, you're being so stupid. Then any of the other hobbits are not more tanned. He said they're browner of skin. Yes, I'm browner of skin, you fucking retard. You idiot. My skin is not pale white. My skin is a little bit browner, you dumb fuck. Fucking idiot. Eventually presented with a screenshot of 2022 wherein he himself declared the fan base are fans, and they like the source material because it's the source material they like. So if you do something else, you risk alienating fans on a monumental scale. Gaiman dodged the point and instead mocked, I have been exposed as a hypocrite for not realizing that was what was important in Tolkien, because it is, was preventing nut brown hobbits from appearing on the screen. Now I would delete my Twitter account and fade into lonely darkness farewell. No. Yeah, you were exposed as a hypocrite. So you're deflecting now because you got caught in 4K like a freaking idiot that you are. Like, my dude, I look white and my skin is a little bit browner than the normal pale white person. Like, what are you talking about, bruh? Also Puerto Rican, so I could have probably played that role. It's like, it's all about like, this person's black. No. There are people that have brown skin that are not black. But of course, you don't know that because it seems like every dark-skinned person looks the same to people like you. That's what you make it seem. You make it seem like every dark-skinned person is the same to you. There is such thing as brown skin. People from the islands have darker skin. They're not black. People in South America have darker skin. They're not black. But of course, you don't know that because you think every dark-skinned person is black. That's how you see it. That's how you see it, clearly. But those are my thoughts on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I will say, back to Ripperverse. Back ISO number 1. Currently sitting at 41,300 total purchasers as of making of this video. $3.54 million with 19 days to go. Still got cover C, still got hats, still got posters, still got shirts, still got trading cards. It works. Pick up this comic, back this campaign today. Just give money to a creator that doesn't hate you, that will always keep his integrity intact. Like the video if you liked it, comment below and let me know what you think. Subscribe for more content. I will be going out of town, so probably be no content this week, maybe until Friday. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.